Hello and welcome to the Bear Experiment podcast. I'm your host, Monica Clavijo, and we're back again.
Shady's back. Tell a friend.
And we're back again. So we're here with Jax.
Yes, we're a week late because you promised this.
I did a little intro and everything about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks.
Has it been 2? Yes,
I think it may have been. It was like 2 weeks ago. I was really inspired. I was doing my morning walk and I was meditating and I was looking at the birds and the trees.
And you forgot that we can no longer plan life because life.
And I forgot that we have jobs, you know, and,
and children and
children,
responsibilities.
and we have to work. So we weren't able to kind of coordinate because Jackie has a man. She got a boo. She got herself a Bumbler boo.
I sure do.
Yeah. So that's what our podcast is going to be about. You know, I'm also kind of working with new equipment and new editing software. So that's going to be some of what I'm doing here today with my sister girls. You know, so I can kind of practice a little bit and see.
I'm the guinea pig here.
She's the guinea pig for expanding the Bear Experiment podcast. Yes. So just bear with us if this looks like shit. Yes. We're learning as we go.
Yes, and if we look distracted, I'm still working. This is multitasking at its best.
24/7.
Yes, it is.
All right, Jack. So welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule. Now I know you're really busy, girl. You're busy the way I want to be busy, but I'm not busy like that yet. So yeah, tell me. She has not told me anything.
No,
she did send me a picture because I was like, you got to show me what this guy looks like.
Yeah.
But I haven't really spoken to you other than a couple of text messages back and forth because I really wanted to get the raw reaction from your story. You know, I really wanna hear this. I really want to hear this, and I want this to rub off on me. So talk to me. What's going on?
It's funny because a lot of people are giving me shit. They're like, "Why haven't you posted a picture?" And I was like, "No, there's so much mal de ojo out there. This feels too good. I don't want anybody to mess this up.
You don't want to mess it up.
I don't want any outside comments, forces, negativity. Like, no. I mean, it's still fresh. So literally, it is the person that we spoke about at the end of the last podcast that we did, which was in January.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Timeline.
Okay, let's rewind. So what did we talk about?
So we mentioned that I might change my age range on Bumble. I went older.
Oh, okay. Now I remember. You were like, Monica, you were taking my advice.
I was.
A little older is mo better.
So I had some failures. Like there was one guy that I went out. I didn't go out with him. Sorry. There was one guy that I had connected with that was 51 and he seemed like a lot of fun. Turns out he was like a karaoke DJ at the age of 51 who drove a Ford Fiesta. I don't think I mentioned that on the last podcast. I know I mentioned it on Story is Life.
Okay.
51 years old, karaoke DJ, Ford Fiesta. But not just any Ford Fiesta. Like Ford Fiesta with a body kit that put $15,000 into it and admitted this.
Like he never grew up. Like the movie Big with Tom Hanks, you know?
That might be an insult to Tom Hanks and the movie Big. And I was just like, no, dude, come on, you know? So, you know that I do love karaoke too. And luckily we don't go to the same places and he doesn't DJ where I go. But I was like, what the fuck? You know, how is there still...
So you went out on an actual date with this guy?
I did not go out with him.
Oh, okay.
The minute... I mean, he was proud of his Ford Fiesta. And I'm not materialistic. I don't give a shit.
You're not.
But I just think, again, like I go back to maturity and having things in common. And
I think that's the key factor here. It's like, okay, is this something that I can work with, right? Like that's how you need to start looking at everything.
Exactly.
Is this something
that aligns to my lifestyle?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't. I mean, props to him that he's happy because I believe everybody should chase their dreams and be as happy as possible. And if that's what makes him happy, more love to him.
Right.
But I do not see myself, and I think it's difficult enough, right, to even imagine aligning your life to somebody, let alone a karaoke DJ that's 51 years old and drives a souped up Ford Fiesta. Like I didn't see us having a lot in common.
Right.
So that was a no. I had one guy, of course, un cubano de esto, like echado pa'lante, that I thought he was like pulling my leg And I thought it was like a fake account and he was trying to catfish me. And he's like, oh, you're Cuban. I'm Cuban too. And I was like, okay, so háblame en español, you know? And he did. And then the shit that he said, I was just like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Very forward about what he wanted. Finds me on Instagram. Starts sending me like all of these compliments.
What did he want?
He just wanted sex. He wanted to give me his cintura. Porque la brujería se hace por la cintura. If you're in Miami, you had to have heard that stupid
No,
song.
I haven't.
Oh my God, we'll play it for you later. And I was just like, look, guy, we're not looking for the same thing. And he's like, well, you're not looking for fun and adventure and pleasure. And I'm like, yeah, but not in that format. So I was kind of surprised to see somebody a little bit older acting that way also.
How old was this one?
That he was also like close
51?
to 50. It was between, I think I had changed my range from like 48 to 53. I think that was as far as I was gonna do.
Girl, that's like ancient for you.
That's just, it's 10 years older than me. I'm about to turn 43, so that's as far as I would have gone.
Yeah.
And nothing, luckily, this gentleman, because I can even go back and say that he was respectful from the beginning in the way that he approached me, in the way that he asked me for my number. Like, he even said, if you feel comfortable, here's my number. You know what I mean? We went out we had plans to go somewhere else. And I ended up having like car trouble or whatever. And I was like, look, I'm just getting back. I'm unable to, I want to get ready. I want to do stuff. I think I mentioned this on the last podcast. Can we just do something more casual? And we ended up at Flanagan's.
Flanny's is the place.
Flanagan's is in the place. So on Story is Life, he is known as Flanagan's Man. Because
Okay.
we don't reveal names. And I know that you've done a couple of, where we hide people's names and stuff like that. And I didn't think that from that first date, we would have gone anywhere. Because I did all the talking. I had just eaten, so I was like, look, I'll go have a drink with you, but I'm really not going to eat. He had his meal. I sat across with him. I talked way too much. And he listened. But he listened. It wasn't like he was just letting me hablar por hablar. Like, there's
He
things,
was interested in learning who you are as a woman.
there was things that I said that night that he still brings out and remembers from that conversation.
Oh, that goes a long way, right?
But I really
Yeah.
thought nothing of it.
It's like, that's when it's like, oh my God, you're paying attention.
Yes. He did not walk me to my car. And I was like, oh, this guy's not interested. That's it. We're done.
That is a turn off.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But he was smart. He was actually giving me my space. He didn't want that awkward, do I kiss her? Do I not? Like, you know what I mean?
You know, it's interesting, and I'm going to interrupt now because I think that this is an important thing to kind of elaborate a little bit more on, and because I, like you, feel that if a guy goes out with you for the first time and you guys have a click, even if you don't have a click,
Yeah.
it's just manners.
Yeah.
At that point, manly, it's right
Yeah.
etiquette. Walk me to my car. And just make sure that I get, even if my car
Yeah.
is right next, 3 cars away from yours, just walk me toward my car and just let me go in and never talk to me again.
So I really thought, based off of that he just wasn't
Yeah.
interested. And I was like, all right,
Because
cool.
that is what we will think. We're like, oh, he
Yes.
didn't walk me to my car.
Yes.
You could be Brad Pitt. Well, maybe if you're Brad Pitt, we might let it go.
We'll let it slide, yeah.
But yes,
But yeah,
yes.
I thought, whatever. He sent me a message, just making sure you got home. I did. Good night. That's it. But I thought, we're done.
Yeah.
The next morning, he sent a good morning message. I had a great time. I hope you did too. Can we get together again? And I was like, shit. I had some plans on Friday. I couldn't meet up with him. He was going out of town. We talked that Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So I was like, okay, sure enough, this is probably going to die out. He's going out of town. I have stuff to do. I already again, my trauma, right? And all these negative interactions that I've had with men. I didn't think anything of it. But no, he continued the communication. He continued to reach out.
So it's what we always say. It's what everyone always says.
The
When a man
effort.
is truly interested in you,
Yes.
the effort will be there.
Yes.
He will not give you an opportunity to question whether he is
Interested.
interested in you or not. He's
Yes.
not going to give that availability to another man.
Yes.
To step in. He's going to let you know. Now, if it doesn't work because you're not feeling it, that's a whole nother
Correct.
story.
So this man was out of town on Saturday. I couldn't see him Friday. I had stuff to do. He was out of town Saturday. He was out of town Sunday. But sure enough, when he got back on Monday, he was like, hey, can I see you tonight? Can we go to dinner tonight? And for me to go out on a Monday is kind of weird because
Yeah.
work, like usually Monday to Thursday, I like to dedicate to work or whatever.
Qué
And I was
trabajadora
like,
tú eres.
Yeah. Sí, sí, porque si no duermo, no sirvo. That's why. That's why. If I don't sleep, I can't function. And we did. We went out to dinner. And again, I was just like, this dude's not putting the moves on me. This dude's not, I don't know. Like, it was just a different interaction because we're talking about a mature, older man. So the interaction was a lot different. he did ask me, he's like, hey, can I pick you up? Like, can I be a gentleman and pick you up?
Yeah, because that could be awkward also. Like, I'm going to see where you live. And
On the second date. And I was like...
Right. But that is the
correct thing to do. So that made up for him not walking me to my car on the first date. And I was like, I live with my kid. But I was like, fine, my son was at the gym. And I was like, what's the harm in that? You know what I mean? I have a gun. I have 911. I'm good. And I was like, sure. I sent him the address. He picked me up, opened the door, closed the door. We went to also like, it was like a Puerto Rican restaurant, nothing out of the norm. Because of a conversation we had, I wanted to eat mofongo. So we ended up at a Puerto Rican restaurant. Conversation was great. Again, communication. I actually ate this time. But I don't know, like I still didn't feel that connection because he was being a gentleman, but that's not what I'm used to out of like a Miami man.
Of course, because you were dating crap. Exactly. I always told you that.
So we made plans to go out again. And like we just continued to go out. And the more that we went out, the more that, finally you start getting to that confianza. Yeah. There was one day that he's like, look, like I didn't want to be on the carao and reach out for a kiss, but he made it known that, he was interested in that way as well. Yeah. So he kind of let me be the one to lead, which I find is very respectful as well. And things just started building, So very detallista, very
detailed,
proper. Very detailed, very proper. We have a lot of values. Family is very important to him. He's Cuban American, just like me. And it's nice to finally meet somebody that, even though he's older, and again, like I always say I was raised within viejos. So my maturity level hasn't always been the same ones as my friends. Mm-hmm. He's my sister's age. He's 9 years older than me. I grew up.
I think that's a perfect age gap.
It is.
Though. I really do.
It is. And I'm realizing that now. Yeah. But then again, you can find a 50-year-old man that looks like he's 60. Now, you don't even have to find a 50-year-old man. Sorry. The guy that I went to the Keys with. He's my age. He's 42 years old. But that guy's soul is like 75.
Yeah.
Like we would have never worked out.
That's the guy that passed out.
That's the guy that, I don't remember if he passed. I don't even care what the hell he did. He was just a very uncomfortable dude that took 30 minutes to load the car. And
yeah. I remember that story, yeah.
And he had fucking driving jeans. And then he had like a butt pillow, like all of that shit. And the guy's like my age. And you're acting like you're 60-something, 70 years old.
Right. Change your tone a little bit.
I couldn't deal with that. Like I was never going to be on the same page with that guy. So even though he's 9 years older than me, like we have a lot of things in common. We laugh at the same things. We have a similar sense of humor. He gets like my dark humor because some people get offended by it, and he doesn't. Like
that's important. The sarcasm, right?
Exactly.
That you pick up on it, and that you're not offended by it.
Exactly. My witty banter, like he gets all of that shit. And from the beginning, I told him, yes, I've been alone a long time, but if you're patient with me, like I'm totally willing to navigate this with you.
It's about communication. It really is. It's about just putting it on the table and saying, this is who I am. I like you. I'm interested, but work with me in these areas because it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been in a relationship.
And he did, and he asked me all the right questions. I mean, I remember early on he asked me like, what was my expectation, and I was like, I can't give you an expectation. No. Like I am traumatized by my past. I can't give you an expectation because every time I've set an expectation, I've just been let down.
Well, you should never set an expectation, right? That's part of like the rules of the universe.
But I think what he was looking for was for me to tell him, yes, I'm ready for a relationship.
Well, you are ready. You are ready.
I always was. I just kept telling the wrong people.
Right.
Right.
You were looking in the wrong
places.
Yeah. Looking for love in all the wrong places.
And then I remember one time he asked me like, you've been single for this long. Do you think that you're so stuck in your ways or you're too comfortable in your singleness that it would get in the way of a relationship? And I was like, no, I think when you meet that person and you meet the right one, all of those standards that you set for yourself go out the door.
It's like what they say, when you know, you know.
Exactly. And it's been great. I mean, I think I've had to work on myself a lot to get to this place, to be able to appreciate a man like him.
Kiss a lot of frogs,
yes.
Right, toads,
yes.
And be able to experience that in order to be able to appreciate.
Correct.
Right?
The right one, or somebody who treats you the right way.
I think that's just in life, right? I think that's
the tropezazos that we do.
Right, you gotta get a smack down in the face in order to be able to say like, oh my God, my life really isn't that bad.
Yeah,
right?
But I mean, again, communication has been key. And whenever he's felt something, he brings it up. We don't really hide much. Mm-hmm. I've learned to be a lot more open with my communication because I've learned from my mistakes before. When you ball things in it never ends well.
Right. You explode,
You know what I mean?
eventually.
We
Yeah. It's going to
haven't-
come out one way or another at that
Exactly.
point.
I mean, we're still totally in the honeymoon stage. I mean, it hasn't even been 3 months. So we haven't had any issues.
But 3
yet.
months is enough time to be able to adequately kind of be like, I can work with this. Like, I
Yeah.
like this guy. I'm into him.
Yeah.
Like,
and I
could
don't
see,
even have to work with this. Like,
I could see long term. I can see
things,
a long term growth.
yeah,
here.
like things have jived and things have vibed so naturally and so well and so comfortably. Because that's another issue. It's like, I don't have to worry about being somebody who I'm not. I haven't showed him anything.
You can be yourself 100%.
100%. And he accepts it 100%.
And he has children?
He has older children just like I do. His son is 24, his daughter's 22.
Oh, perfect.
You know, so
Perfect.
neither of us are looking, you know, for daycare or
You're not
it's
gonna
pick
you're
up
not
and
gonna
go.
have a baby?
Fuck no. It's you know what I mean? Like we already went on our first getaway. So
I saw that you went on a cruise.
we did. We went
Small cabin. Like, you really know if you like a person when you're doing that.
yes, and definitely like no issues either. Like there was one day we were stuck at sea and it's like, you know, what do you want to do? And I looked up, he's like, you're the one that's good at the planning. I looked at the calendar. I was like, there's a show at this time. There's
Yeah.
this on this time. I ended up falling asleep. He let me sleep. I wake up and I'm like, oh shit, we missed 3 shows. And he's like, you took a good nap, didn't you? And I was like, I sure did. So again, travel compatible. I think you don't really know somebody until you travel with them.
No, and sleeping in that's a very intimate
Yeah.
thing that you do with another human being when you more than sex, I
Yeah.
think, right? Like that, like sleeping and cohabitating together,
Yeah,
right?
like, are you
That's
going to deal with their
yeah,
snoring? Are
right,
you going to
right.
deal with, you know, whatever else happens in the
Does
middle
this
of the
guy
night?
fart in the middle of the night?
Yeah,
Like, what's going on here?
And I mean, he slept over before and we've
Yeah.
shared a bed before, but that was like back to back 3 days
yeah,
with nobody
yeah,
else. But
right? It's not like in
the
the
two
morning
of
where you're
you.
like, it's time to go.
Yeah, no, like you're here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because he knows that I love to sleep. He's respected my sleep schedule. He gets up really early for work, and there was one day that he was gonna stay over, and I was like, "What time do you have to be up?" And he's like, "Oh no, like I need to leave here at 6." And I was like, "Ooh, I don't think you should stay over tonight." Like that's, and then now I'm like, "Stay over. I'll wake up at 6. I don't give a shit. I'll find something else to do.
Right.
I'm fine." Like, so it's at that point where you start to realize
You're getting comfortable with each other.
you're getting
Right.
comfortable, and
where it's like you get up and I don't have to right away, or I do, and it's
Exacto.
okay if like I have pimple cream on, you know?
Exacto.
Yeah.
Like it's great. And again, we haven't had any issues yet.
No, but don't throw that out there.
I
don't say
I
it
don't
like that.
want any, but I'm saying
retract
like
that. Retract that.
I don't want any, but I mean, so far anything that we've discussed or anything that we've talked about, we're pretty much on the same page about.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels really good to meet somebody that it just feels comfortable and it just vibes right.
That's awesome. I was like, I'm so happy for you because I truly am. I'm very, very happy for you overall. I'm super jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, she fucking beat me. Damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew it. I was like, I lost Jackie. I lost Jackie. Like, she's never available now. And that's how it is. And that's when I know you really like someone, when you're like, I'm not available. I'm not available.
Yeah, you
I
got
can't
stuff to
it."
do now.
You're
Yeah.
always, now you want to be with him all the time.
Yeah.
And that's completely understandable,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
no-
And it's funny because I think now we're both at a place, right? Like he's a professional as well, and he has a very not a demanding position, you know. So he has a lot of responsibility at work. And I think towards the beginning of the year, it was just me. And now work is kind of like kicking him in the ass. And he's like, I can't come over today. I hope that's okay with you. And it's like, of course it's okay
Yeah,
with me.
you have
Like,
to be understanding
You have
about
to be
that,
understanding.
right.
Like, I can't be a brat. And I wish that I can, you know, lock him up in my room and never let him out again. But, you know, things are coming to the point where it's like, okay, there's responsibility. Like,
Yeah.
he went back to the gym. Like, he had even skipped his whole routine at the gym to spend more time
Of
with
course,
me.
but that's normal. I think that's, you know, that's something that just organically happens when you're
Yeah.
truly into somebody because you just want to get to know them and see if
Yes.
there's long-term potential, right?
And then there comes a day that you're like, hey,
real life has to come back
like,
into the
now,
picture.
Now we need to kind of like
Yeah.
relax and, you know, and go back into those routines. And I think that's healthy and comfortable too, to be able to be like, okay, now I'm not going to sit here for 5 hours with you watching TV. Like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to come by and I'm going to give you a kiss and I'm going to go away, you know?
So has there been any talk of a possibility of maybe moving in together?
I think it's too soon. For
No,
that.
obviously it's too soon,
But he did ask me, like, he asked me if again, I think that one of the things that he was kind of aware of, right? Not scared of, but aware of was that I was alone for 5.5 years. So it's like, was I ready to let go of la solteria? You know what I mean? To be able to be in a relationship.
So how long has he been?
So we divorced around the same time, but he did date, I think it's like 2 people seriously within those 5 years.
So he was in long-term relationships.
He
Two
was
long-term
in
relationships.
Yeah, long term in the sense of, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
It was 5 years. He wasn't with one person for 5 years. He was with two people in that time.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't ready, to commit, and I wasn't finding the right person. ¿Tú me entiendes? But I mean, I think I was open to it for a while.
I think you were. I
Yeah.
think you were very open to it.
I just think it was the wrong people. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
you
that's
were.
why it happened.
I think you were also in a position where you finally let go of the, oh my God, I want a relationship, I want a boyfriend, and you were just having fun.
Yeah. I did a lot. I did a lot
And
of
sometimes the
healing.
fun guys are not.
It's not bad.
You almost look for now the fun guy because you're like, do I really want to get into a relationship?
Well, that's all there was. So you work with what you got.
But then when you and it's interesting because you're telling me that you really were not feeling it with this guy 100% when you first met him, right?
No,
like it wasn't your expectation was completely detached at that point.
I thought we were so different.
Yeah.
And the more
And
that I talked to him
yeah.
and the more that I got to know him, I was like, no, like we have a lot of the same reactions to things. Sometimes silly things, sometimes dumb things. Like I love 90 Day Fiance.
Oh my God, a lot of people are into that.
I was so ashamed to ever say. And one day
You should be. You should
Bro, but
be.
that shit is great. That shit makes you feel so good about yourself because those people are fucked in the head. And I remember one day I was like flipping through channels and it's obviously like one of my favorites. And he's like, oh, that's the guy that married this one. And I was like, you watch this? And he's like, well, I don't watch it, but like I've seen enough of it. And I was like, so can I watch this? And he was like, fuck yeah, So
Watch it. Yeah.
we watch it together and it's funny and we'll comment on it. And he's like, we already saw this part. Like fast forward. I want to see what else happens. And
Yeah, now he's getting all into
now
it.
he's all into it. So it's like, I just thought he was a different person. ¿Tú me entiendes? And again, when you're just getting to know somebody, obviously you don't lay all your cards on the table right away.
And that's why you should never judge a book by its cover 100%.
100%. 100%.
Because, everybody's kind of like on their best behavior when they first
Yes.
meet you, and they don't want to scare you off if they really like you.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just as crazy as you are. They're just waiting to see how crazy you are before they can let out their crazy.
Another concern he had was every single picture that I had on social media, like on that public account, I had a drink in my hand. So he's like, this whole bar drinking life, like, is this what you enjoy? And I was like, no, that's what you do when you're single. You know what I mean? And it just so happens that you go out and you have a drink, but I can go months without drinking. Not months, but I can go days and weeks without drinking.
Right. It's not something that you need to do it on a daily basis.
It's not something that I need to have fun or to have a good time either.
Right.
And obviously he's seen that now that, we spent some time together. I think I've been tipsy around him. I would say tipsy. Like 3 times, and I think he's benefited from it. So whatever.
Right. Right. Sometimes they're like, hey, do you want another glass of wine?
Yeah, So I think that was another one of his concerns. But he did ask me, like, would you be open to living with somebody? And I go, of course. I never thought I'd be open to marriage again. But then you meet somebody and you're like, yeah, like what's the biggest commitment that you can do with another person? That's it. You know what I mean? Like, let's get the government involved. Like, obviously we're not there yet. It's still too soon. But things that I thought would have never happened are happening.
Are opening up for you now. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what
Ideas
happens
and
when you meet
thoughts.
somebody that you click with, right?
Yeah.
At that point, like all of these, ideas and scenarios that you thought
Would never happen.
I'm not doing this again. All of a sudden everything just changes for
Yes.
you because there's a different match, there's a different vibration that you have with
Yes.
with this other individual. So, oh my God. And out of
Yeah.
all places, Bumble. He's a bumbler.
No, believe it or not. So-
Bumble. I'm on Bumble now. So I canceled after your success. I canceled the Facebook, the book of the book of faces,
The book of fake faces.
dating. Yeah, the dating app. Which I'm trying to think. Where did I leave off with you last time? Who was it? It was
The chef?
Oh, so the chef was the one
Yes.
that I was kind of starting off with, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Nice guy, gringo, what I'm looking
What
for,
you love.
right? He was German Italian, had a really nice place overlooking the water, had a young son, which is not an issue. The issue is always like, is there a baby mama drama?
Exactly,
You
yeah.
know? But I wasn't there long enough to see if there was. Had a great job. He wasn't a chef.
He just liked to cook.
No. He was a chef. He just wasn't doing that now. Like at the
Okay.
time, he had a different position. But he had a great career. Responsible man. But it's like, that that click
Yeah.
wasn't there. You
Yeah.
know, there was just something always, an energy that was missing with him all the time. And I would say that to my girlfriends, like, I like him, he's handsome, but there's just something
You
that,
just know, like, if there's
and he even told me once, he's like, you know, the beginning should be the honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
Because he would be like, come over. And I was like, oh, but it's, you know, it's 5:00. There's so much traffic. You know, when you're into
Yeah,
somebody,
no.
you don't care,
Yeah.
you know?
I agree.
So,
This man went on a business trip. He was gone from Thursday to Sunday. And Sunday, he thought he would have been back home at a reasonable time or whatever. He puts the time on the GPS and he's like, I should be home by 7. So I'm thinking home, his house, by 7. He ended up having to make a pit stop in West Palm Beach and he's like, I totally miscalculated. I'll be in your house at 9. I was
your
like,
house.
Coño, like,
Yeah.
after being away for 4 days,
He wants to see you.
he came straight to me and he was like, do you mind if I shower? And I was like, I don't mind, you do anything. You
Yeah.
know? And he literally stayed and spent the night with me because we spent 4 days
Apart.
apart. I had gone to Atlanta.
I love it.
I went to Atlanta to see a friend. Again, I was also gone 4 days. It was the same thing. It was like a Thursday to Sunday. And I kept in touch with him. I had told him I miss you. And he's like, do you really? Like, pobre, I think there was a part of him that questioned
Was
if
questioning
I was,
everything.
If I can possibly feel that way, just being as hard as I was. My wall was super up. Like,
Yeah.
I think he had more
Of a doubt, maybe.
a doubt on me
Or of
than
insecurity.
I don't think insecurity. I just think that I come across so strong,
Yeah.
and I come across so independent. And he was like, "Can I break this girl?" And not necessarily break her, right? Because men don't break you. You make that decision on your own, and you change for them, and you become more feminine, and you're in that
Right.
energy
At that point, you
for
let
them.
go, and it's just like, go, take over.
Exactly.
Right.
But him hearing me, and he went back and he listened to every single episode on Story is Life, but he heard it backwards. So he heard the story from.
Oh, because
I'm
you've been
ready.
talking about this on Story is Life the
Yes.
whole time. Okay.
So the story's there, you know, from beginning to end, but he heard it backwards. So he heard me basically saying, I'm ready for a relationship, and then went back to fuck men, they suck. And I'm going to be single for the rest of my life, and I don't need shit.
Oh, so
¿Tú
he
me
thought
entiendes?
that you were like totally over him at this point,
Exacto.
like it wasn't working.
He just thought that I would never be
Oh,
open
shoot.
to a relationship
Right.
because he heard it backwards. So the day that he told me, and I was like, don't hold any of that against me. You're listening to Jackie in October of last year.
Right, right. People change with
am
again
not-
meeting the right person. It's about
Correct.
it's an energy connection vibration thing.
Correct.
You know,
So-
either you're into the person or you're not into the person.
Yeah, and I remember one day he told me, he's like, I'm done, I'm not listening anymore. I don't know what I said or what he heard that day, and I don't know what episode it was, so I can't even go back to find out what it was. And then and I did tell him out of respect, like, hey, remember that Friday I couldn't go out with you? I was recording a podcast. Remember that Saturday that my friend was coming over? Like, we were recording a podcast. Like, this is something I do. It's kind of a hobby. You're the topic of conversation now. I want to respect that. I'm very transparent, but some people might not be.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to hear, don't want their business out there,
Exactly.
you know?
So I wasn't going to share it with him, but when I saw things were going in the right direction and things were getting serious, I was like, okay, I need to tell him about this because I don't know how much he's going to be okay with me sharing or not at all. And at that moment, I would have had to have a conversation with Alex
Right.
and be like, what do we talk about now? This dude doesn't want me to talk about him. Luckily, again,
He was okay with it.
he was completely okay with it. And as a matter of fact, you know, he tells me, why didn't you talk about that day? And I was like, no, there's parts of our relationship that I still want to keep between us. You know, I don't need to.
Yeah, you got to keep something private. Absolutely.
Exactly. So he was totally okay with it. I didn't even give him the name. Like, he ended up finding my TikTok when I was doing, like, making fun of the of the profiles on Tinder and Bumble
Oh,
and all
God.
that.
I want to do one of those. Now it's my turn to take the
Yes,
pictures.
take it over, dude. Take it
Yeah.
over because
And we're going to have to do it because
people were loving that. And he even told me, he's like, what are you going to do with your TikTok now? And I was like, doesn't matter. Like, all of that goes out the door. Your priorities change.
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't bother me. And I was like, I have no business. And I don't know if you follow that girl Menefta, that she does the real estate.
No.
She'll make fun of like real estate listings in Miami where they're asking for like $750,000 in Hialeah
For an apartment.
So she'll do the green screen and she'll make fun of it. So I've always reached out to her and said, dude, can you please do this about men on dating apps? And she's like, my husband would not be okay with that. And I was like, it's not, you're not dating. You're just looking for these freaking
Yeah,
profiles
but
and making. So I didn't understand her response until that
now.
moment that he tells me that doesn't bother me. And I'm like, I have
Yeah.
no business
No.
on a dating app right now.
Right.
You know, like if this is what we want to do.
He may tell you he's okay with it, right? Because maybe he is right now until you start doing it, and then he's like, "What the hell is this girl doing on a dating
Yeah,
app?"
I have no
You know?
business on there anymore.
No, absolutely.
So-
that would bother me if
Of
it was the other way
course.
around. I wouldn't like a man
So
that I'm
I
into being on a
changed-
dating app.
You know, I changed the TikTok to kind of be snippets of the podcast now, and the moments that are the highlights that might get people to tune in. And it's fine. It's worked that way. And there's people who actually interact with me there, and there's people who have comments, and there's people who want to learn what's going on.
You're carrying that podcast. I've always told you that.
We have a fan. Like, I made a friend from there that found the podcast, and she can relate to the content, and she's going through a divorce, so she'll reach out to me, and she's locally here as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
No, it's funny. I was by the office, and nothing. I was like, let me put Story Is Us in the car. Story is life.
You keep changing it to Story Is. He said it as Story Is Us one day.
There's a movie called that, I think, with
This Is Us was the show on NBC.
No, but there's a movie with Michelle Pfeiffer and Bruce Willis, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a really great movie. They've been married forever.
Girl, I got my computer open.
Go Google it. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Story Is Us.
And Bruce Willis.
That's too much.
Am I right?
No, there's a Taylor Swift song called The Story of Us.
Okay. What's the movie? Now
The Story of Us. Ben and Katie married 15 years ago and gifted with 2 children.
Is that the one with Bruce and Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yep.
Oh, that's it. What's it called?
It's Bruce Willis and Michelle Pfeiffer.
What's it
The
called?
Story of Us.
Ay, close enough.
1999. Coño, yo estaba pariendo en ese momento. No parí. Hold on. My mom says that I'm not a woman because I didn't have natural birth.
Yeah, she's right.
It was a C-section.
Right. She's right. That's the easy way out. C-section.
Yeah. Que culpa tenía yo que the kid didn't freaking fit through the birth canal. So yeah.
But I was driving in the car and I was headed to, I don't know why I remember just being around the office, and I go, let me put, an episode. I don't know what the heck the universe was asking me to do it, because the first thing that you guys start talking about, the girl in the
Valerie.
Hey, so how's Monica doing? And I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
They better not talk shit about me.
No, we're very present in each other's podcasts.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. And I wasn't doing it obviously with that intention, nor did I think that.
No, I mean, for you to tune in at that moment, it's hilarious.
I was like, it's got to be me. How many Monicas
how many
are out there?
Monicas do we
That's
have
funny,
there?
yeah. So you were like, no, she's good. She's doing her own thing. She's really busy. And I was like, whatever. And I took a picture, and I think I sent it to you guys and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So I feel like we're like, I don't know if you know, like breweries it's a tight knit community where they actually help each other out.
like beers?
Yeah. So when the breweries hit Miami,
What do you mean?
Every
help
time
each other out.
So every brewery has like a signature beer, and usually that signature beer will get featured in another brewery that has no tie to the other one.
Okay.
So they kind of hook each other up, and it's a tight knit community. And I think podcasting could be the same thing.
Well, yeah, they always say get invited to other people's
Networking.
podcasts and networking, and that also helps, kind of elevate your message and expand your brand if that's what you're looking for.
It's still a lot of fun. Maybe one day Power 96 will hear me talk shit and offer me a DJ job.
You never know.
Or I'll take over Delilah's spot.
You never know.
No, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun interacting with people too, and people asking and caring and all of that. Alex is over his whole phase right now.
What does that mean?
Apparently he's not going to the teeny anymore looking for a chick.
So he's what is he doing now?
He's
Praying?
still
Is he still healing?
He's still healing. I mean, the healing journey is long.
It is. It is. I have noticed that he's not putting as many videos up.
Yeah.
TikTok videos.
Yeah, but he's focusing on 3 things right now. It's where he puts his credit card, what he puts in his mouth, and where he puts his pee-pee.
Okay.
That's the new one with him. But but it's a lot of fun because it is a series. So every time we connect, it's like, okay, where did you leave off with the chef? And where did you leave off with Mahoney? And where did you leave off? So that's kind of, it's una novela.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. So Flanagan's Man is the character.
The character, the long term, what's that called?
Potential, long term potential.
The protagonist.
Protagonist.
Protagonist. I'm saying it wrong, right?
Yeah.
Protagonist. The protagonist of the
of la novela right now.
of the novella right now with you. That's awesome. No, I'm getting a good vibe. I'm seeing that there's consistency, which is
Yeah.
important. You guys are
Communication.
communication's important, and it really is.
Yeah.
That's 90% of the battle right
And
there.
it just,
If you
again,
guys-
like, I think we're at a point now, like, I don't want to say the honeymoon phase ended, because it didn't. Like, there's still cute things that he
Yeah.
does and cute things that he says. Obviously, he's really busy, you know, so, like, yeah, Monday through Thursday, it's not the same guy that I see Friday through Sunday.
right, but,
but-
that's normal. That's what starts happening when you start getting serious.
Exacto.
Yeah.
But it's comfortable, you
Yeah.
know, and comfort is okay, and comfort is good, and it's you feel stable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's moving in the right direction. It's about 2.5 months. We haven't really brought anybody else from the outside. Like, I haven't really met anybody in his family. Obviously, I live with my son, so
And I have to commend you on the fact that you have not posted a picture of him, because I really am that person that internally and with friends makes fun of the people that have a different boo.
yes,
Every
I can't
2
stand
months.
that either.
This is the love of my life. This
Yeah.
is my, what is it?
Yeah.
My ride or die.
Yeah.
This
No,
is my sidekick.
I'm right there with you. So there's one girl that I went to school with. We went to middle school and high school together. And she'll post things that let you know she's in a relationship, but you never see the guy. And, you know, in my chismosa asked her one time, I'm like, where's this boo at, bro? And she's like, until I don't have a ring on my finger, nobody's going to know who that man is.
Well, that's extremes. Okay.
I was
That's a little
like-
extreme, though. That's
And
a little
I
extreme.
asked her, I was like, okay. And she's like, no, and it's true. Like, people's bad energies. She also has a baby daddy that likes to cause issues.
That's okay.
So
now
she keeps
that's a
it-
whole different story.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
It's a couple of reasons why, you know, but one of them is that it's like outside energy. I
Right,
don't
until
want
it's like
any of
really
that.
concrete at that point, and even then you can break up, right? But until it's really concrete and you're like, okay, there really is true longevity here, then okay, then let's
It's
start
nobody's
posting
business,
pictures.
dude.
It really isn't.
It's nobody's
And you're
business
right.
behind.
People are haters. People are looking at that. Oh, she's a hoe. She's gonna like break up with him in a week or whatever. That's not gonna work out. They're too different. People are.
Yeah.
They really do throw out that kind of negative vibe. It's funny because you mentioned Mahoney, and my cousin Maylee, who's also on a dating app. She's on Hinge though. She says that Hinge is the shit. She loves
Hinge
it.
is a shit. You got to be careful. There's a lot of fake profiles.
Well,
From
she
my
likes it.
experience,
She's
yeah.
like, you
But
know.
Hinge is on top of it. So Hinge will tell you, hey, you interacted with Marcos on March 3rd, and we have realized that it's a fake account. So
Oh, okay.
they're on it, and it's funny because Valerie is on Hinge, and she swears by it.
Valerie's the other girl, on the other
girl
on the podcast.
Yeah, and I was gonna say on This Is Us on Story Is Life.
I changed the name of the podcast. Forget it. It's a new
And
podcast name.
So yeah, she swears by Hinge. She likes it. She's gone on a couple of dates. Pero I've gone on there and it's like, I don't know. I didn't have the same luck.
Bueno, she sends me a text with a picture. She's like, "What was the cop's name?"
Oh man.
And she sends me a
Was it
picture of
him?
Mahoney, and I was like, "She's like, do you want me to fuck with him?" I was like, "Oh,
Toxica.
yeah." I was like, "Let's leave it at that." You know, let's just leave it where everything ended there. That
Yeah, there's
obviously
no-
that didn't end well, and
Yeah,
but
there's
it's
no need
funny.
for that. There's no need for that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but
but
I
how
mean-
funny would that have been? Where he's like, "Hey," she could be like, "I'm Monica's cousin."
No, you don't want to do that. Miami is very small. Also,
No,
I've
and
learned.
you know what? I'm close that chapter. Start
Exactly.
a new one. It was it's like what. Remember, I'm starting off. Right? Like you've been doing this for a little bit longer than I have, where
Yeah.
you're doing the dating, and I'm finally open to it. I am I'm looking at this more like a game kind of now.
You can't. So what I realized, right? And again, like, you know, that the end of 2023 was tough for me. And I took a break. I focused on family and helping my family out. And when the new year started, it's like, oh, new year, new me. I get it. But it was part of like, okay, what didn't work for me last year? Like what has value for me to bring into this new year? Mm-hmm. So you have the option to kind of close those doors. And if you see it as a game, it's like, then what message are you giving the universe?
Okay, so it's interesting that you're bringing that up, because that's actually one of the things that I kind of wanted to dive into with you as a result of your, positive interaction.
Manifestation.
Yeah, which it is. I mean,
It
because
is.
you've been manifesting this forever, you know? And look how it happened. There's a reason why I come into your life and I'm like, open up your age demographic,
Yeah.
because, I'm telling you that you're going to find more quality
Yeah.
in this gap than in this gap.
And somebody you can actually connect with, because you've
so-
always told
and
me
somebody
you're more
that's going to
mature
offer
than-
you what you're looking
Yeah.
for. Younger guys, not that they're bad, not that you can't find a younger man that's very mature and has his shit together, but they usually have younger children, right?
Yeah, the
there's-
priorities are different.
Right. They have the baby mama drama. They're really starting off in their career. So and you're not anymore. So it's now what are you doing? You're their cheerleader now? You know, like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's,
and we don't want to raise men anymore at this age.
right. And correct. Now you're dealing with a man that's more established. They've, divorced. They've hit their head, a couple of times already, and they're coming in with a little bit of what's the word? A rebound, is it, or a strength, or
Just to add
intelligence?
value. No, and add value to your life. Like I've always told people, it's not a money thing, right? Like women are like, oh, I want 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches, right? That's not it. Like, what does that do for you? You need to make sure that you're able to offer that before that's something that you want to request from a partner. It's not about the success because you want their money. It's like, I want to make sure that you're stable enough in your life, that you're living within your means.
Right.
So you're not bringing those headaches to me because I made all my financial mistakes when I was a kid. I made them at 18. Like I screwed up my credit very young. So now if you're going to...
I think most people do, though. A lot of people, you go a little crazy when you don't understand
But
it.
then if you're meeting a man at the age of 45, let's say, or 47, that your age range, and now you want to buy a property, and this guy's like, well, my credit score is 420 and matches my weekend activities. Where are you going with that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and it's not an age thing, it's a maturity thing, which is what I always tell people.
It's a priorities thing also,
It is.
Right? Like you have to have priorities. There's ethical values that you have to have in common, family values, religious values, political values. Those kinds of very important things have to be aligned.
Correct.
Because that's very important.
We don't have necessarily the same faith, but he respects mine.
Right.
I respect his. You know what I mean? Politically, we're kind of on the same page. That's important. That's something that I was kind of afraid of bringing up based on my experiences before.
Right.
And I was glad to know that we're kind of on the same page as well.
He's not into Trump?
No, girl, sorry.
I used to like him.
I'm telling you, I'm going to go back and the day that I figure out that guy's information, I'm going to send it to you. But those are important things. Like values are very important to you. And family is very important to him, and he sees that it is to me. So again, he has older kids. But the day that my son calls me and tells me, oye, I'm on 836 with a blown tire, what am I going to do? Tell my kid figure it out? No, I'm going to get in my fucking car and I'm going to go.
That's your number one.
And there's going to be men out there that's going to be like, your kid's 20-something years old. Can he figure it out himself? No.
Right.
That's mine. Right. I'm going to go save him. You know what I mean? So we have a lot of those same values, which I think are very important. And the fact that we have kind of that liberty, like the cruise was brought up within a month of like planning. Like we planned it and 4 weeks later we were jumping on a cruise. Somebody that can pick up and go like that. Like,
it's funny because I had a cruise that I had from work that I had invited the chef to go with me. And it was very, very early on. And after a while, I was like, am I really prepared to be in a cabin with this man for like, it wasn't long. It was probably like 2 days. It was to the Bahamas,
you're going to really get to know that person there.
No, and then I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. Like, I'm really not. And then things just didn't jive either. Like when we were really planning it, it was just, there was always a but. And I go, stop pushing it. Forget about the cruise. You're not going. And it's okay. And I literally just lost a free cruise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, I wasn't prepared for that. Okay. So if there's one thing that you can really pinpoint that was different from your boo, to past, interactions that you've had while you've been dating, that you can kind of give us a little bit of,
communication.
Of advice. It's the communication.
The communication. I mean, the men that I've dealt with in those 5 years, I'm not going to say all of them, right? Because there was men that had great potential. We just didn't have the chemistry.
Right.
And chemistry is important to me. So you need to realize.
It's very important.
Exactly.
It's very important to have chemistry.
But I think there's people out there, unfortunately, that are looking for other things that are not necessarily the passion and the love. So maybe they
stability, financial stability, maybe. I know that's a big one. That's
so then maybe they're willing to overlook things like that just because they need something more. Like they need a roommate. They think that, and I don't think you can build love. I don't think you can build chemistry. Like that's something that you either got it or you don't. But the communication for me was a big one. Like if I can't tell you how I'm feeling, like one day I told him and I was like, remember the day you asked me if I had any expectations and I couldn't answer you? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I have expectations now. And he's like, okay, how does that make you feel? And I go, it's scary as shit. because now I've put that wall down. Now I've opened myself. Now I've shared my
I don't want to get
emotions.
hurt. I don't want to get hurt.
No, I don't want to get hurt. That's scary. And he's like, good. Then that means that what we're feeling is true, and it's mutual.
Oh my God, I love him so much.
Yeah. Again, communication has always been amazing. The whole thing on Story is Life, when I was like, I need the chase. I need that fun. I need the cat and mouse. And he's like, I'm not going to give that to you right now because I care about you or I like you too much.
What does that mean? I'm not going to. What does that mean?
It was always like, I like the challenge for whatever fucked up reason in my head.
Like the guy calling you all the time and kissing your ass.
I couldn't deal with that. And he didn't. Like, this man did not do any of that. Like, this man gave me equal amounts of affection and space, which I think is why. Okay,
so how did that work? Talk to me about that, because I'm struggling with that a little bit. So, for example, if there's a man that you really like you click with this guy, and there's chemistry, and you've gone out on 1 or 2 dates, what is the expectation, if you even have one, of him communicating with you? Is it like a daily thing? Is that too much?
I'm sorry. If you're in a relationship with somebody.
But it's not a relationship because you're still starting off. But what is the realistic expectation then from a person that you're starting off with? Like, is the guy supposed to send you a text on a daily basis, call you on a daily basis? And if they don't, what does that mean?
Does he care about you? Then yes, he will. And I'll give you the perfect example. I mean, I think we matched on a Sunday. We finally exchanged numbers on a Monday. We went out on a date on a Wednesday. He went out of town that Saturday. But that whole time that he was out of town, he was just like, hey, how's your day going?
He would communicate with you.
He would communicate. And I wasn't like bothering
You answered
him.
my question.
It's the day today. I didn't hear from him today until like 11 a.m. This is the first time in this whole time that he took that long. But I know he's going through shit at work.
Right. So he was busy. At that point, it's like, okay, he's got to be really busy.
Exacto.
And you're already in a stage that if you don't hear from him by a certain time, you're going to reach out to him now without a problem. Like, hey, is everything okay, babe?
Even when I went to Atlanta, when I landed, I let him know I landed. When I was waiting for an Uber, it was like late at night. It was like a Thursday night at 11 o'clock. And he's like, hey, let me know when you get to your friend's house. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I
checking in on you.
Exactly. And he usually, I mean, if we're not out and about, like, he'll go to bed early. And he didn't that night. Like, he waited for me to get to my friend's house. On Saturday morning, I woke up.
That's a man.
He was with his nephews. Tu me entiende? But I still sent him a good morning message. I went to the zoo. I sent him a picture from the zoo. Like,
see, there was constant interaction with each other, even though you guys weren't in the same city.
Exactly. And we weren't on the phone. He wasn't taking time away from me and my friends. But there was still that interaction. Because he knew that I was there to see a friend. So he respected my time and my space. But we still had moments where we checked in on each other. He went on a business trip, with his coworkers, and he was gone those 4 days. But he let me know when they arrived. He sent his good night message. I didn't talk to him all day. I also didn't bother him. Like, you're doing something. I'm going to give you that space to do what you need to do. When he goes to the gym, hey, I just got home. I'm going to go to the gym. I'll see you after. Okay. I'm not going to call him every 30 minutes. Are you done? Are you coming? Are you not?
How long does it take for you to be at the gym?
There's men that will overwhelm me like that. You know what I mean? I can't be that way. Like, that didn't work for me. Right. I felt smothered. And when I told him that, when he mentioned the whole, like, this whole chase, I can't do this chase with you because I like you and I'm enjoying this. I was like, I don't need it anymore. Like, this isn't a game for me anymore. Like, I know where I stand with you. I know where you stand with me. I don't need that chase. I don't need that game. And I told him, I appreciate that you give me affection and space. And then he's like, what does that mean? And I was like, that doesn't mean I want you to give me space because I want to go out with my girlfriends and I want to go clubbing. That means that when I tell you, hey, I'm at my parents' house, I'll call you when I'm done. You give me that space to be with my parents. Right. And you know that when I'm done, I'm going to call you. Same thing with him.
Right.
I don't need to know where he's at 24/7. Yesterday, I think it was like 7 o'clock. Again, he had a crazy day at work. So I sent him a message. Hey, how's it going? Crazy day at work. I'm just getting home now. I'll be home like in 2 hours. Okay, I'll talk to you later. That's it. Like, as long as the communication is there and you have a trusting relationship, because...
Right. That's key also, right? You need to be able to trust each other.
Exacto. There's going to be toxic women. They're like, oh, he's probably con la otra. He hasn't given me a reason to believe that he's lying to me. Right. He hasn't lied to me about the smallest thing, so why would I question what he's saying? Like,
right. That happens, if the trust is broken.
Exactly. So I really appreciate that. The affection. That was one of the things that I spoke to you about on the last podcast, that wasn't necessarily my love language. But now when I'm with him, I know he needs it, and now I crave it because I know he needs it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And his like physical touch is like skin on skin. Like he, like if I have like on a long pajama, he's like, no, like I need to touch your skin. Like
Right.
that's his love language, that physical touch. And there's days that he sleeps over, and I'm the type of person that it's like, okay, we do our thing, tu pa tu lado, yo pa mío. Pero my leg is looking for him because I just want to know that he's
there.
still there.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Right.
It's like I've become this affectionate person that I never was.
Oh.
You know, and it's like that right person will bring things out of
Yes.
you that you didn't even know
Right.
you needed.
Right.
You know, so it's amazing. But again, communication, you know what I mean? Like if you're not that affectionate person but you know that your partner needs it,
Yeah.
and they're too overly affectionate with you, then you need to be okay with saying like, oye bro, I'm trying pero no puedo más. You know what I mean? Like
You need to scoot back.
yeah,
You
like
need to give me some space.
You need to
give me some
able-
space.
You need to be able to say those things, and you need to be able to keep the communication. And again, like he would check in with me as things were building and as it was growing, just to make sure, like, are we still on the same page? Like, are you okay with this? And there was one moment that I asked him, like, what else do you need from me to show you that I'm in it? And he's like, you're doing great. Like, no,
Yeah, he's
you know,
yeah.
like he realized that he brought that out of me. So the holding hands, the hand on top of the thigh, the pata arriba when you're on the couch watching TV, all of it. Like
Oh my
I'm
God,
loving
you
all of
guys
it.
are so
You know,
annoying.
the cuddling before, like the other day he slept over and we
Oh,
both,
I'm vomiting in my mouth.
he had to go to work and I actually had to leave the house because since I work from home I don't leave the house, and it was like the cuddling before you get up and go, and he's doing the bed while I'm brushing my teeth, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. I never thought that I would be here today. You know what I mean? So I'm
I
enjoying
think that
it.
genuinely everybody just craves that. They really do. It's just very, very difficult to
Yeah.
find that person that you really like that
Yes,
much.
and
You know?
that, but that you can
very-
jive. It's not something you can force.
Right. It's
You
got to
know?
come very organically and naturally.
Correct. Like I've dated people, I've had people stay over, and I wake up and it's like, are you going?
Yeah.
Like, when are you leaving my house? Like, you're in my space. I don't want to share this space with you.
Right.
And I've never felt that way. You know, I bought him a toothbrush the other day, so he had a
Uh-oh.
toothbrush here, like shit like that. You know what I mean? That it does take the right person to make you open to those things again. I was
Right.
alone for 5.5 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It's a long freaking
I
time.
feel like I still got ways to go. You know, I haven't had a lot of luck with the gringos. I'll tell you that much. I don't know.
I don't think the Cubans are your.
No, right? I don't think so either. I don't think. I don't think that that's gonna be my.
No, I don't see you with it.
So I met this one from. So I've gone on a dinner with several candidates, and all gringos, of course. I went out with another Mahoney.
Oh, God.
Yeah, very uptight. I've noticed that about Mahonies. They're very uptight. You know.
No.
Good looking though, very handsome, the blue eyes and, the career and the house. Lived in Fort Myers, came to meet me like on a whim. From one conversation, he's like, I'm driving down tonight to meet you for dinner. But, and I thought we kind of vibed a little bit during dinner. I mean, it was the first time that we got together, and very straight edge, again, very, very straight edge kind of guy.
I just think you like these complications of people in other counties and shit.
No, I'm just, at this point, I understand, or at least I haven't had any luck. Or
That's far,
I
though.
don't feel that Miami's for me. Like, everybody that I meet from Miami is not for me. It's either Fort Lauderdale. What is it that my cousin calls it? Fort Lickerdale.
Why?
Fort Lickerdale. I don't
Is it a party life there?
She says that Fort Lauderdale is full of trash. I was like, I've never really thought that, but maybe. I mean, I'm not really that familiar with Fort Lauderdale that way. Fort Lickerdale, like she calls it.
We gotta go to Las Olas and check it out.
Fort Myers, I have noticed that the candidates in Fort Myers and like Naples, those guys, remember my demographic, what I'm looking for, 55, 56,
They're in the
57.
55 communities.
And that's old for me too.
Okay, but are you willing to make a long distance relationship work? Because somebody in Fort Myers isn't going to come have dinner with you 2 or 3 times.
I would be willing to relocate.
You would be
I
willing
would be
to,
willing. I
with
want
a
to
child.
relocate. Yeah, I want to relocate. I want to do it. Now it's going to be a question of like my job, right? My career, the income, all that stuff that I never want to completely let go of that. Unless the guy's like loaded, and at that point it's also going to have to be like, okay, how are you going to set me up so that I can leave this so that I can be with you, should that ever get to that point. But yeah, it would have to be very career driven also. Can I make some money? Can I still continue to work moving to another city,
county?
No, I'm willing to move to another state, to be honest with you.
I mean, I am. My situation's different, right? I do work remote. My kids are already grown. I can pick up and go wherever the hell I want to go. But again, I always say this. I found it difficult to start something with somebody in Broward. But again, el que quiere puede. And if a man is interested in you, then he'll make it work. But you got to make sure you're in the same page. I just heard of a story of a couple that dated for 3 years. They were 2 years apart from 2 hours apart from each other. Apparently, he said it from the beginning that he wasn't going to leave his house. She's in Miami, and she kind of said, okay, we're coming to our 3 years. When are you moving back? Because he's originally from here. And he told her, I told you that I was never going to move. And the relationship is now over because he wasn't willing to bend and she wasn't either. And
that has to be a conversation that has to be had right in the beginning, right?
But
right in the very beginning.
Some women believe I will change him. Time will change it. And he said, no, I told you from day one I'm not going, and I'm not going. And that was it.
Look, Jackie, realistically, at this point, I'm still trying to figure this thing out, and that's what I'm noticing. I was in a relationship that was so unforgiving to me for so long that...
How long was that relationship?
It was like 1.5 years, almost 2 years, So, and that took a lot on me. So I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm understanding that everything in life is either a lesson or a win. Yep. It's never a loss. And that people come in for a reason, and really trying to look at everything from that perspective to continue to grow, right? And not stay in the funk, because that's what happens, and we get stuck. And I'm trying not to stay there. So I understand what I want. I know what I like. I know what I'm attracted to. But I'm finding it very difficult. Yeah. And maybe it's because I'm not fully healed yet. It could very much be that. It could very much that, my life path is to do this, or I don't know, go help the homeless. I don't know. And I can't be consumed in a relationship that's gonna take up a lot of my time. Yeah. Am I ready to meet somebody and have a partner? 100%, I can tell you. I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't had that luck yet. I haven't had, I've met so many people such as yourself, my cousin Barbie, where they Tinder, Bumble, Match.com, and they're married.
Yeah.
And they're married now, And so I see that there's the possibility of it actually happening. So the guy, the Mahoney Part 2, ends up, I meet him by Sawgrass. We have dinner. And I thought we had a nice exchange, The guy was outgoing, had a nice personality, Nothing to rave about either. Like, there wasn't that like, oh my God, this guy. No, but it was, how things develop also.
Exactly.
He ended up calling me the next day. I went to the Drake concert, and he was texting me, and I was with my girlfriend, and she was like, oh, he's gonna ask you to go out again next weekend. Like, he was constantly texting me the next day. And I was like, you know what? I'd be open to seeing where this goes, He sends me a text like 2 days later, and I didn't reply till the next day.
Yeah, but 2 days later.
Or it was like a day or 2 days later.
Yeah.
He sends me a text. Hey, let's talk today. And I didn't reply to him because I wasn't in the mood. Like, I was just not in the mood to talk to him.
Well, but he also didn't give you that same effort, because if it took him 2 days to kind of check in on you, why are you going to...
Yeah, I want to say it was like 2 days. Yeah. So let me finish. This is why. So I was kind of talking to another one that I met.
That's the problem with online dating. There's so many options.
And this one was a cutie, but he was not local. He was from South Carolina, Lexington, South Carolina. Oh my God.
You went really white.
Oh my God. And he was here on a business trip, and I was even like, do you live here? What's going on with you? And we started just texting back and forth. He gave me his number, and we're just texting back and forth. And when I tell you that if there's a possibility to fall in love over text messaging, like, I was there at that moment. I was like, what? Like, we were finishing each other's texts. Like, like I was like, what is this? It was so the fun banter back and forth.
Yeah.
But he doesn't live here, so that's He was trying to reschedule his flight
To stay longer.
so that we can. So one more day just to go have dinner.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, "What do I have to lose? Let me just go have dinner with the guy." Spring break, impossible to get out of Miami and get a flight back. And supposedly he's gonna be back in town sometime this month. Let's see if he reaches out. If he does, you know
Yeah,
what?
I didn't have luck with out of towners.
But at the same time, it's like, how realistic is this? You
Yeah,
know what I
no,
mean?
no.
Like, do I even want to get involved?
So then that's my thing, right? So why give that energy?
Right. Okay. So again, I'm exploring opportunities. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning what I want and what I don't want.
Yeah.
You know, what I'm attracted to, what I'm not attracted to, how fucked up everybody is,
Yeah.
what I'm dealing with
How
right
honest
now.
they are about how fucked up they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's another like common denominator. Like a lot of the guys that I've talked to, their ex-wives, whether it's true or not, they've either, been in a position where they're in rehab for like, alcohol addiction. One had the ex-wife where she met her current partner that left him for, that was also a crack, like he was on crack. And you're just like, really?
Again, I'm glad that people.
And that has to mess with your mind.
Yeah. So I'm glad people seek the help that they need to become
Oh,
better
100%.
versions of themselves.
100%. I would never judge anybody for that,
But that's not something I'm willing to put up with.
Right,
You know,
right.
men that have multiple baby mamas. That's not something that I'm willing to put up with.
Well, so Mahoney part 2 ends up then. No, the next day I sent him a text in the morning, right? Because I had it, top of mind, like, hey, I had a busy day at work or whatever. Sorry, good morning. He writes back to the effect of like, okay, let's talk a little later today. Okay, great. He ends up calling me that late in the afternoon.
So you're thinking, here's my second date.
I'm like, oh my God, this guy's totally into me. He's going to call me to ask me out on another date this weekend. When he finally calls me, we speak for 30 minutes on the phone, and it's about his day, his cop day, right?
Yeah,
Like
me,
all
me,
the
me, me.
problems, everything that he went through. And I was like, okay, talk to me because I'm trying to understand who he is. I'm feeling him out. Like, this is what I'm dealing with here. Because this would be a relationship, right? Like if I get into a relationship with this man, if it does lead to that.
You saw the potential.
He had very handsome career, was a police officer since he was 20 years old,
Wow.
was in his mid 50s, took very good care of himself. Like the guy was super healthy. During dinner, he wouldn't have fake butter. Like it could only be real butter. Like that level of health, where I
Wow,
was a little
yeah.
bit like, what do you mean you're not going to eat the croutons? That's the best part of the salad.
Give them to me.
Yeah. No. I literally was like, give me the croutons. After he talks to me for 30 minutes about himself and his day, he's like, listen, I didn't want to send you a text because I don't think that that's the right thing to do. However, I do want to start off by saying that I think that you're beautiful and you're an amazing woman and you have this amazing personality and this charisma and blah, 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 blah. He's like blowing me up. He's like, but I just did not feel the chemistry that I thought that you and I were going to have right off the bat based on the conversation that we had yesterday. Now, mind you, we only spoke on the phone one time before he asked me out to dinner. And he drove down to meet me the very next day, which I found it to be a little soon also. But I was like, okay, go with it. I'm at that stage where I'm like, go with it.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen here.
I feel you.
And he's like, but I didn't feel that connection. And, I was really hoping for more. He even went as far as saying, I could be a little jaded because I've been on this for a long time and I really haven't had luck,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
And for a moment, I was a little bit like, whoa. Is this guy just dumping me right now? Is this what is this
but
what's
I
happening?
appreciate
Like,
it.
I mean, he can't be, we were in date, but you understand what I'm saying? I was like, this guy, but he could have totally ghosted me at that point. Never contacted me again, blocked me from everything, and just gone about his whole happy way and met somebody else. And I had to commend him on that. I told him, I'm like, listen, you really are an amazing man. I think that what you're doing is spectacular.
Yep.
This is huge. This is a very uncomfortable conversation to have with anybody.
How old was he?
55, 56.
Okay. So I'm gonna say then that the men in my age range still have hope to mature by then, because I don't get that.
This guy was also like, remember, he's a cop, so cops are
very
very
disciplined.
different, very disciplined,
very
right? It's
disciplined.
like that military kind of mind frame.
But again, no, I've met the military man who doesn't have the discipline
Right.
to tell you,
Correct.
hey, I'm not feeling this, or hey, I only want to fuck, or hey, I'm just not ready.
I think it varies from person to person. I just
Yeah.
think that this is who he was. He was a very disciplined man. Like, he right off the bat, when we spoke on the phone that one time, he was telling me how, he didn't have a lot of friends, and he was fixing an RV. He was a very hands-on kind of man that can fix anything around the house, and you can tell he was kind of a loner to a certain point.
He prioritizes his time. He only puts time into things that bring him joy, and maybe people don't bring him joy.
I don't know if long term it would have worked out, because I don't know if our personalities really were that different. But you always hear like sometimes opposites attract, and you have
But
to
he
kind of
saw
be
that, and he was mature about it, and he talked to you, so there's a communication.
And I was just like, what you just did is amazing. This
Yeah.
is awesome.
No, I
you are
agree.
such a man. Whoever lands you is going to be so lucky.
That's awesome.
Because-
I mean, you need to be very self-aware, right, of what you bring to the table. But we also have toxic traits, and I
Right.
think some people, I don't know, are in denial. Maybe that they also have. Like, we're always going to be the villain in somebody's story.
Right.
Maybe we don't see it, but I don't know. I've always liked to think that I'm very self-aware, and I kind of find myself now stopping myself into the tracks before I say something I shouldn't, or before I make comment.
I think that comes with age, and that comes with maturity, and that comes with crashing and burning and understanding. Okay, I can't act like this anymore. I'm getting too old for this bullshit. Right?
Exacto. But to be able to say something like that and respect your time, I think it's so valuable in any connection, not just in romantic connections.
So I was a little bit like bothered by it, but at the same time, I even had this conversation with my cousin Mei-Ling, and she was like, I don't know. I think I would have preferred to have been blocked.
No.
And I said, I don't know. I think the whole blocking thing is more like
immature,
and then at that point, like, we're never really, not that we're probably ever going to talk again. We're not going to.
I don't think so at this point, but I love that closure, right?
Yeah.
Because I hate, and it's funny. Valerie had asked us on the podcast before. It's like, hey, did you get any weird Merry Christmas, Happy New Year text messages from people in your past? And I was like, luckily I didn't. And and when Valentine's Day came around, she kind of asked it again, like, did anybody come out of the blue and just pop out? And I was like, no, they didn't. But recently, a couple of people where it's like, hey ma, how you doing? And I'm like, no, we're not doing this anymore. Sorry, I'm no longer available for you, And
yeah, they
but
they
those
come
are
out of the
people-
woods out of nowhere.
Exactly. But those are the people that weren't honest with me, that weren't honest with themselves, and are just looking for a good time.
Yeah.
So they're testing the waters to see if the possibility is there, and there is nobody. I'm telling you, there is nobody from my past that I can sit here and say that I had even a friendship with that's enough to continue those conversations.
Right.
So, I would have much rather appreciated somebody be honest and say, hey, I'm just looking for a fling. And I could have been like, okay, we're not looking for the same thing. Good luck.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my experience with Mahoney too. And then I met this guy from Boston. He's been here for a couple of years already. From the very beginning, I got the vibe. Gringo, obviously,
obviously
obviously
Age
Boston,
range,
like
same age
the
range?
right off the Mayflower. Right?
Oh my God. Age range is the same.
58.
Okay.
He's I would have I would prefer my person to be a little younger, but at this point, it's kind of like in the 50s for sure where I'm at, right? 58 years old, was married for many, many years with the same woman.
How long has he been single?
Over 5 years.
Okay.
He was in a relationship with somebody for a long time, a girlfriend that he had. And that's the vibe that I got from him right off the bat. Like, I was like, this guy's on the rebound. That's why he's on the app, very handsome, very manly, very macho, beautiful green eyes, seems to have a good job, career, very, very clean cut, kind of well put together, fun, charismatic.
He's good looking for what you sent me. Yeah. He's good looking.
He had something where I was like, whoa, I can work with this. This is kind of like what I think I'm looking for, right? Yeah. The chemistry was definitely there. We only went out on 2 dates, but again, like from the beginning, I just felt that the energy that I was getting from him was, there's an attraction, but his energy somewhere else.
How long has? I remember
According
you
to
sending
him?
it a couple of weeks. No, how long has this been going on between you and him?
It's still going on, kind of.
Okay, when did you meet him? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Not that long, like 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in
not that
3
long ago.
weeks, you still haven't established
No,
a matched effort.
No.
You haven't established
No.
that he's into you. So then how much more time are you
Yeah, how much
willing-
more time do I need to give this? No, at this point, this is where I'm at with it. So there was a conversation on my end where it was kind of like, because of what I'm sensing, when you're available, come back into the picture.
Yeah.
So I kind of reached out to him over Easter break. Happy Easter,
Yeah, you use it as an opportunity to connect again.
I did like him. I'm not gonna lie. I did like the package. Is the package 100% available? I don't think so.
Yeah. He's still on Bumble.
He's still on Bumble. He's a bumbler. He's an active bumbler.
Yeah. So obviously, whatever, it took me a long time to find.
And
my
I did see
person.
that he updated his profile.
Okay, so then you're not it, because if you were it, he would still be active on Bumble. He still wouldn't be updating
Right?
his Bumble.
I know.
Bumble would be the last thing on his mind. So
the one that I like is the one that's like bumbling again.
yeah, so I'm not gonna say I have all the answers because, oh my god, I found the person, but the effort is there.
Yeah.
So within a couple of weeks of me and this guy kind of talking and dating, I realized that he had kind of not deleted the Bumble, but he kind of deactivated the feature to match other people. So then that showed me that effort.
Yeah, he's into it. He's into the whole thing.
And I remember the first time we slept together, it's like we still weren't quote unquote boyfriend and girlfriend, but I was like, hey, now that we've taken that step, I just want to make sure that this is exclusive, at least when it comes to that, because I'm not trying to catch some shit. You know what I mean? So like there was certain steps.
You don't want to be with a guy that's a hoe. Absolutely.
Exactly. So there's certain steps within a 3-week period. I think there should have been certain actions that would tell you that you guys are on the same page looking for the same thing, and he hasn't shown it to you. So then how much more time are you going to give him to show you that?
So that was my thing with that one with Boston. Like, he had a lot of the physical that I was looking for in a man, like just that manly, like I need a man that I can't run circles around. And I got that vibe from him,
I got you on that. And you need a man that tells you, sit down, I got this.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, maybe he's not that person. I don't know. I don't know him that well. But, I think that's probably one of the ones that I've met where I'm like, wow, okay, it's out there.
It's possible.
I just got to keep looking.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if the bumbling is going to be the answer, but.
I don't think it's not, but I just think that you need to put less time and effort into these people who aren't matching.
Right. Like at that point, it's what you say.
Yeah.
When it gets to that point where you see that there's 3 consistents where it's inconsistent, you have to be like, bring it up, communication.
Yeah.
What's going on? You're not on the same path that I'm on. When you're available, which I kind of hinted that to him. Not hinted, I literally sent him a text like that. Like, when you are in a position when you're available, call me back. And then I'm actually the one that reached out to him with a happy Easter, because I was trying to open up the door again, because I was like, wow, like I keep meeting guys that I'm trying with, but it's not there.
So you're meeting men that are there, but they're not there.
I'm meeting and I'm learning as I go, and that's how I'm looking at this now. Like, it's a learning experience. It's understanding really what I'm looking for, what I want, and what I will not accept,
Tolerate,
and tolerate.
So my advice, and I wasn't great at this all the time either, is cut it. Like, you already know what you want, right? You know when somebody's into you, they put in that effort, and the minute that they show you otherwise,
correct,
cut it, because you're giving it that energy and it's taking up space where
for the right person can come in.
Exactly. That's kind of how I see it, and I wish that then again, no, like you say, we live and we learn and we have these experiences, and I think I wasn't always super open to a relationship, how I was this year when I was like, okay, this is my intent. My intent is dating to have a relationship. I'm not just dating to have a good time. I'm not going to just sleep with people just for the sake of sleeping with them. And when I made that intent and I made that decision and I cut off everybody that was showing me everything that I didn't want, then the universe opened that door. You know what I mean? So just don't let people take space where they shouldn't.
100%.
Like
100%. 100%.
I think in 3 weeks, I think there was a TikTok that I saw the other day, or an Instagram post or a reel that said within 4 weeks, he should make you his girlfriend. If the intent is there, in 4 weeks, you should be his girlfriend. In 2 years, you should be engaged. If these are people who are looking to move forward together, and an engagement doesn't necessarily mean a ring and a plan for a wedding, but
right. But at least like moving forward together,
Yeah,
right? Where we're going to move in together. Something has to happen where there's, right.
At that
a
2-year
union.
mark, you know what the next step is in your committed relationship.
Yeah.
I remember a guy that I had met. He was in a committed, quote unquote, committed relationship for 5 years. They didn't even live together. And he's the one that made that choice. And she put up with that shit for 5 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's a long time to be tú en tu casa, yo en la mía. Like,
Yep.
what are we doing?
Right.
So you need to kind of set that timeline, and you need to kind of cut things. I'm not telling you after the third date, ask him like, hey, where are we going?
Why aren't we married yet?
Yeah,
What's going on?
But definitely, if the effort isn't being matched and the communication is not there, don't give it any more time.
So yeah, that was the thing with Boston. Boy, you know, he was sexy. There was just something about it. I was like, oh, this guy's like, he had that like Matt Damon kind of macho accent thing, you know, where he almost sounded like this 500-pound mobster when I spoke with him on the phone. And then you meet him and you're like, okay, you don't sound like, because I think he's kind of like a softie. He's just, he's going through some shit. You know, he's going through some shit right now too. So, you know, sometimes I was having this conversation with my cousin over the weekend. I was at her pool and we were just, you know, she met her partner who they've been together now for 3 years on Tinder. And she was like, Monica, what I've learned from life, she's 53 years old. She's like, everything in life is timing. It's just about being, you may very much have a lot of chemistry with somebody and very much click with somebody, but the timing is just not right between the two of you.
So my Flanagan's man had told me, you know, like in one of those cute moments, he's like, you know, I wish I would have met you sooner. Like, where were you hiding? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no.
It wouldn't have worked out.
It would not have worked out.
I wasn't ready.
Because I was not in that mental space to appreciate the quality of man that he is. Like, I would have ruined that shit immediately. So no, like, things happen for a reason at the time they're supposed to. I'll give you a great example. The cruise we went on, I went with a friend of mine too, and her husband and her husband's friend. And we had kind of agreed, it's like, we're going together, but we're not going together. Like, no me jodas. You know, this is my first little getaway and I want to enjoy it. But there was times, obviously, where we had come together. And it just so happens that her husband's friend worked for I don't know how many years with this man's mother. They were so close that she would call him kind of like her hijo potizo. And he would always say that's his second mom. That's how close these people were. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, Miami is so tiny.
It is.
That this happens.
Yeah, it's like the 6 degrees of separation in Miami too.
Exactly. So this happens and I'm sitting there and afterwards, you know, like, we laughed about it. Obviously, it was great because people got along faster, you know, whatever, and conversations changed quickly. Like, we found this out within a couple of hours of the cruise. So it made for easier bonding and getting along y todo eso. But then I don't know what it was that I had told him, because my friend's husband and I didn't always get along. We actually couldn't stand each other. Like, we couldn't be in the same room together when I was married. And I would always make the joke that it was that we were both in love with the same man. Like, that was the joke of how we kind of, you know, whatever. But this is my best friend's brother-in-law. So as time would have it, I was at the house one day and he showed up. And we kind of matured and got over that moment or whatever. And now we're the best of friends, you know, and this time around. And I told him, if we would have gone on this cruise 5 years ago before me and this man hicimos las paces and became friends, and your mother asks this guy anything about me, nothing good would have come out of that man's mouth.
Yeah, everything is timing.
Because we did not get along. Now because he sat there and he's like, oh, this girl is a fucking media expert. She was a great mom. She raised an amazing kid.
Right, because now
now
he likes you.
Now the relationship is different. So now he has all these great things to say. But 5 years ago, he wouldn't have said any of that shit. So life is about timing.
Yeah. So, you know, that's the way that I see that. Anyway, so that's Boston Boy, which sucked. And then again, I've a couple dates here and there with other fellas. Nothing to really brag about. Nothing.
But you're still out there. You're still open to it.
Yeah, 100%. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So this was my original Bumbler bio profile. Which I Googled, by the way. This is not me being clever and
is this
funny.
Chat GPT creating a...
No. This is Googling, like, what the hell do I write that's funny? That's not like, I'm a single mother and I'm looking for fun. No, you know. Yeah. There must be something more important than being ridiculously good looking and I plan to find out what it is. Now, did I just break the ice on this daunting app?
I like it.
I loved it. It didn't really get me a lot. So then my cousin, Mei Ling, who just started on Hinge, but I feel she's a little uptight. She's not into emojis, and I feel that emojis with older men are
But
a thing.
Hinge doesn't, no se presta para eso. So Hinge doesn't necessarily have an about me.
Okay.
Hinge has questions.
Okay.
So it's different. It's like, where would you like to go on your first date? Tell me about a time that, I don't know,
I
your worst
gotcha.
travel story. It's more like prompts, not necessarily, Monica, age, blah, 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 looking for blah, blah, blah. Like,
So
it's a
my
little
new
different.
bio is, which she wrote it, by the way. It's not even mine. I can't even say that it's me. Looking for someone that can match my energy. I'm
love
an
it.
accomplished, down-to-earth woman with a zest for life.
I would change energy to effort.
Okay. And then I put an emoji with kissies, with little hearts, because I feel like emojis are a
To
thing.
suavizar the
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. I feel like this is very hard. This is very like I'm accomplished. No, you gotta soften that shit up, Okay, effort.
I would do effort instead of energy.
I'm doing it today. So that's my Bumbler bio, and then it's that. Emojis or no emojis? What's your opinion?
Emojis are fine. I mean, not a
Is that
million of them.
immature?
don't
I
think
noticed
so.
that men, as they get older, they emoji the hell out of every text that they sent you.
I just hate the ones that you go to the profile and it's like 10 emojis. So it's like a burger, a surfer, a palm tree, an airplane, a suitcase, a fish. And that's how they're trying to tell you about them in emojis. Like, I think that's ridiculous. But a little kissy face emoji is suavizando.
That's what
the
I
message.
feel too. That's what I feel too. Okay, so we're going to end this with a really funny story. So Mei Ling, who is now on Hinge, has gone out on 2 dates. She has not had any luck either.
What's her age range? Don't say her age in case she doesn't want it. But
Well, she is my age, 47, and she's looking for younger. She's in denial.
Really?
She's in denial with
Oh,
life.
no, girl.
Yeah, she's trying to do like the 45 to 50,
No.
like staying around. And I'm like, no, girl, you got to go older. You got to go a little older, at least 5 years, at least plus 5. You got to do. So she goes out on one date with this one guy. They go out to what's it called, Merrick Park, in the Gables. Super nice restaurant, 5-star restaurant over there. I'm like, whoa,
Which one was it?
I can't remember the name.
is it the steakhouse, the Italian place?
Oh, now you're asking too many questions.
Hay que llamarla.
So I know that it was like one of the nicer restaurants in Merrick Park, and orders a couple of appetizers. They have a couple of cocktails, a lot of interaction between the two of them. But then great exchange. But then she says that when he walked her to her car, like no kiss, no hug, like very kind of like
Seco.
nice meeting you.
A pat in the back.
And she was like, what the hell? Okay. Like, she's kind of getting into it again,
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's a hit and miss with those kinds of things too. Listen, you don't want a guy coming all like
Yeah,
sticking
put your
his tongue
tongue
down
down
your
your
throat,
throat.
and
Yeah,
you're
I've
like,
had
get
those
the
too.
hell off of me,
Yeah, I've
right?
had those too.
Yeah. So then the funniest one is then she meets another one that lives in the Gables, and they end up going to Booyah.
Okay.
And they were exchanging text messages, and I think they were talking on the phone for like 2 weeks, and they finally end up going out on their date. He's like, okay, let's meet up at Booyah for dinner. So they meet there like around 5 o'clock right after work. So she gets out of work and she goes straight over there. The guy then starts telling her how he got laid off.
Jesus.
Okay, but he got a severance package. Apparently, the song and dance. He gets laid off. He has a severance package, and this has motivated him now to open up his own company. And he's got like different people that are venturing on board. And it just so
he
happens
ask her to-
No, listen. So it just so happens to be in the same field that she works in.
Oh my God.
Right, and she's kind of like a top dog in what she does. Right, she's a very she's a very accomplished professional. So when I call her, I'm like, so how'd the date go? She's like, I don't even know how to explain this. I just felt like I was at a job interview the entire time. And I go, what do you mean? So she tells me the whole story. She says that all the guy did was probe her on
His
like what
experience.
she no what does she do, how does she turn the clients around, how's the HR process,
Did he at least pay
how's
for
the
dinner?
no we're not there yet, let's finish.
Jesus.
So she's like in a 2-hour job interview, where it's about work. Like she just left work all day, where she's trying to disconnect and meet a guy that could be a potential boyfriend, right? So they each have a cocktail, that he invites her to, because he invited her to dinner, and he orders an appetizer at Booyah. You've been to Booyah.
Yeah, it's
the
tapas.
appetizers
Yeah.
are this little. Dice que tenía un hambre.
Pobrecita.
The guy did not order anything else. She says that she had to leave there. I was like, where'd you go, McDonald's or Taco Bell?
Burger King.
She was starving. They were there for 2 hours. The guy was completely interrogating her on her position. Maybe he was recruiting her, for God knows. Maybe he was trying to see if he can get investors
I think
for
that's
his
what I'm saying.
company.
He's looking for investors for his new venture.
You know, doesn't order food for her. Like, at that point, it's like, okay, you're not hungry. Hey, do you want anything else? Let me order something. I told her, I go, you just sort of ordered food at that point. Like, hey, I'm hungry. Like, I need to eat and
I would have been like on another bill.
pick up the tab.
Quiero un
Exactly.
bistec con papa.
Pick up the tab at that point and never go out with that guy again.
Wow.
But either the guy's broke.
I mean, he's on a severance package. That shit has to last.
But
Monica.
then why are you dating?
I agree. So when I went through my shit with work that I thought that I was being let go, I stopped. I got off all of the apps because I was like, number one, I'm not in the mental place
Right.
to do this. That consumed my life. Like, I needed to figure that out before I brought myself to anywhere, which is what I say. Timing is everything. If I would have been on that app at that moment and you would have met me, I would have been like a freaking wreck in front of you because the anxiety was overtaking.
Of course, because
Like-
you're stressed out. How am I going to pay my bills? What am I going to do? Where's my next job?
Exacto. So then get off of the apps.
The guy texts her because I'm like, has he had any? This was yesterday too. I'm like, has
Did
the
he
guy-
add her on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. I haven't asked her that. I have to ask her that as soon as I get home.
Did he ask for a recommendation on LinkedIn?
No, but listen. So I'm like, has the guy sent you any text messages? Has there been any reply? So he sends her a text that he's like, hey, sorry, I've been really busy. That I think it was like that his mother had a hernia or something. And then she replies to him, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My uncle was also operated from a hernia. But I've been really busy all weekend because she just moved building a balcony furniture. And I'm like, why are you giving off lesbian vibes now? Like, what's going on? Like, you're never... This is why you're single. This is why you're single.
She wants to show that she's an independent woman who's got it. Or maybe she was waiting for him to say, can I go over and help you?
Guys, I've noticed that it's got to be a boo like what you just found. Like a real man.
Yeah.
Oh, because she had another one that was... that when she told him that she was moving... The guy ghosted her.
Oh my God, what an ass.
That one said, like, nobody's asking me for my pickup to go move.
No, I
you
was
know?
complaining one time that my son didn't take out the trash. And this man literally went out there and took out the trash.
Oh, wow. Don't
Efforts, people, efforts.
mess this up, girl.
No, I've been warned by everybody
Don't
that
mess it up.
if it goes wrong, it's my fault.
Esto
But
no se
no.
encuentra todos los días.
No.
Well, again, I'm very, very happy, Jackie. It's hard. It's a process. It's a battle. It's a tsunami.
No.
Out there in the dating world. Nowadays, the organic kind of face-to-face, meeting a person where you bump into each other and it's like love at first sight. I think
Yeah.
that's easier said than done.
100%.
Especially after COVID. People are just not that receptive to meeting others or going out as much as we used to. Even with work, where everybody's
Yes.
working more from home. So it makes it a lot more difficult. So dating apps are an easier way to meet somebody. However, the algorithms on the dating apps, from a business perspective, is really set up for us not to really fall in love, so that we stay on the apps forever and ever and pay money forever
Yeah.
and ever, so that they become millionaires. I
But
mean, that's
I'll give you some tips, right? Number one is make sure your intent is clear. That's why I told you,
Be
instead of
upfront,
energy
right.
is effort, because that's what we're looking for.
like Mahoney number 2.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm not feeling this next. Right? Don't waste my time.
Correct.
Let's go to the next one.
The apps are expensive as shit, but you know what? The only way that you're going to weed through the ones that are they're just there to
I've never paid. I always do the free thing. Maybe that's why I'm meeting crap.
do it. So wait, I think if you wait like 30 days, Bumble eventually gives you an offer for like 50% off.
Okay.
So instead of paying $59.99, I think it's like $27.99 or something like that.
Okay.
I didn't have to this year because I literally, when I met him was when I got the offer and I was like, okay, I'm not paying for this. I'm going to see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I did notice that after you wait a little bit, it gives you that offer.
Okay.
And just, again, make sure your intent is clear. Like, he asked me one time, there was one day that my Wi-Fi got cut off and we sat here playing this game that I have about Let's Get Deeper. And one of the questions that he had asked me off of the game was like, why did you swipe right on my profile?
Oh, okay.
And his intro literally said, let's try for love one more time. So I was like, I already knew what your intent was from the beginning. obviously other things have to
Oh
kind
my
of
God, I
line
like
up.
that. Why don't I change it to that?
You
Why
can
did-
steal his. He doesn't need it anymore.
Okay, well, hold
so-
on. Okay, wait. Let's write my intro right now because you found love and bio.
Yeah.
Let's write my bio right now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it as soon as I get home.
So your line was fine. Just change energy to effort, and then
Okay, so I'm gonna
you know?
stay with what I. No, really.
Yes, I don't think you should have energy. I think, and then just saying, trying
Looking
for
for
love.
someone that can match my effort.
Yeah, trying for love one last time.
Okay, effort. I'm an accomplished, down-to-earth woman with a zest for life. Do I keep that or am I removing
Yes,
that?
that's fine.
Okay, and
Trying
then-
for love one last time.
One last time. That sounds like I'm gonna commit suicide.
No, it just real. It has an
One
intent.
last time.
That's what he had. It worked.
Okay, try. One last.
Because it goes to show that he's tried. He hasn't been successful.
And
but
an
he's-
emoji. And an emoji.
And your emoji.
What
The
emoji?
winky face.
Okay, winky face emoji. Okay,
Yeah.
looking for someone that can match my effort. I'm an accomplished, down-to-earth woman with a zest for life, trying for love one last time. The one last time,
Don't do it then. I'm just telling you what worked for me. That's what caught my attention.
but you're a woman. Like, I don't want to attract a homosexual.
Bueno, I don't think it's necessary. It just shows your intent. Like you're looking for love. You're about to give up and you're looking for love.
Oh my God, this is so romantic.
Test it for a week, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
I mean, my freaking profile said, I'm into rib rolls and extra limes in my drink. So really,
That's what I'm saying. I think that women are reading it differently than men. Are men looking at this and saying, "Oh my God, this bitch wants to get married"? Like, I don't want
but
to get.
that's what you don't want to get married, but you're
No,
looking
I
for a
do.
serious
I kinda
relationship.
do wanna get
So then
married.
that's your intent. So why do you
I
want
mean,
to
not
put
tomorrow, but I would
Obviously.
like to. I would like to be in a committed relationship where
Correct.
eventually it would lead to me saying, "I would do this with this person."
So putting something fun on there just to bait them, and then it end up not going anywhere.
but how
is
is
a
this
waste
fun?
of time.
This is oh.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you don't want to do. Like you're
gotcha.
putting your intent, and they have two options. They either swipe right or they swipe left. But I think you should pay. I think paying weeds out the ones who are not serious about it.
Yeah, I feel like a loser if I pay.
No, I think it makes things easier.
And then at that point, I have like the cream of the crop.
Correct.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
Do it. What do you have to lose other than
shit.
time?
Oh my God. All right. If this works and I meet somebody, when I pay and I add this one little liner
But you have to.
with the different emoji winky face, because I'm
Yes.
going to change the emoji.
But you have to run in the opposite direction when you meet the ones that are not there.
I got to block them.
You gotta
You're out.
stop.
This
You-
isn't working.
Correct.
Stop wasting my time.
If you're not matching my effort, we have nothing to talk about. You're not here to make friends. You have
should
plenty of
I
friends.
quote effort?
No, leave effort. If you can bold, highlight it, and underline it, you would. But no, it's effort. You're looking for effort.
Okay.
So
All right. I'm feeling it. Okay. So to close this off, do you want to leave any tips, highlights, advice to us ladies
I did.
that are okay? I know we did that earlier, but we're closing off the show now. So
We're closing off the show by that. Do not give anybody energy.
effort
is
is the name
not
of the game. This is
matching
going to
your
be the name of
effort.
this podcast. Effort.
El que quiere puede.
If you want to be with me, you have to show effort.
Exactly.
That has to be the mojo that every woman has to
Yes.
operate.
Communicate.
toward.
Be open about what
Mm-hmm.
you want, and make sure that they're matching that effort and they're showing you. If it's shady, it's not it.
Yeah.
If they're wishy-washy, it's not it. If they can
Yeah.
go 3 days without talking to you, it's not it.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you have to be clinging on the phone to somebody 24 hours a day because nobody has time for that.
Right.
But everybody has time to at least send you a message that says,
Takes
hey,
2 seconds to
I'm
send
busy.
a message daily. I'm
Exactly.
with, the my bosses are in town and I'm sorry, but I'm having a crazy day. We'll talk tomorrow.
Exactly.
But send me a communication.
face.
Some sort of even if it's a one-liner.
yes,
Miss you.
communication.
Something. Showing me that you're thinking about me. I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah,
I
so-
agree. I think that everybody kind of feels the same way and you're right. When a man is interested, he's not gonna let anybody doubt it.
Exactly.
Right? Any
A man
female doubt
knows
it.
what he wants. And when he knows what he wants, he goes for it.
Yep. All right, Jack. So while we were doing this podcast, one of the cameras kind of shut off. It's fine. We got most of it. I'm gonna play with a different app to edit it. I'm hoping that I get some positive results with that. If not, I'll be back next week.
It's cool, bro. You're welcome anytime.
It's I'm a one-man show, people. I really am. I'm a one-man show with the Bear Experiment. Hopefully one day we'll be having a different conversation. But
We'll
right
be in
now,
a studio.
yeah, you never know, right? But anyway, thank you guys for joining us and just hearing our little rant. And it's not a rant. We ended it with a rant because of me. I'm the one doing the rant. But Jackie really has a very beautiful story and a successful story and a loving story. And the man is out there for you.
Yeah.
The love is out there. Love is real, people. We can do it. We can all find it.
Yeah. And if you don't, that doesn't devalue you. That's another thing we need to
it
do.
does. It devalues you if you don't find love. We should all find love.
It does not. We're whole. You just need to find somebody to complement your life and make you better.
You have to be happy with yourself.
Yes. That's how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, girlfriend. So thanks again, and definitely we'll be back. We'll chat. We'll catch up some more. We'll do another series on this. We'll see where you guys are at in 6 months. It could be a wedding. You never know. You never know. You could be pregnant.
Oh my God, no. Por favor. Pa allá.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.